From author Brian K. Morris comes a classic hero in a high-flying, fast-paced, and action-packed steampunk adventure. The original SKYMAN battles the master of steam. With an introduction by comics icon and historian Roy Thomas. A Rising Tide, an Ace Comics publication. Available now in print or digital format on Amazon.com.
Seconds.
Welcome to Comic Book Spectrum, a Rising Tide Broadcast Network production. Get ready to explore the world of comics, past, present, and future, with our panelists Eric Hawkins, Brian Rodman, and Clyde Hall. And now here's your host, Brian K. Morris.
And good evening, everyone. How the heck are you? Welcome to the second shot, actually, of the Tuesday, May 13th, 2021 episode of not Clever Title Pending. That was it yesterday. Now it's Comic Book Spectrum. Sorry we're a little late. Brian didn't push the right button, so it's on Brian. I quit after tonight. Anyway, but we've got three great replacements for me coming in here, and they'll take over, and they'll make this a really professional-looking show. And here they are now. Here is Clyde Hall, Eric Hawkins, and Brian Rodman. Sorry, guys.
I see how you just blamed all this on me, Brian.
No, you guys, no. I am the Brian who does the bad things. You are the good Brian. I'm the one who makes people play the teddy bear. So, anyway, sorry about that, folks.
I've heard you get that feeling of deja. We got that deja vu feeling going on.
I know. I feel like
we've been here and done this
recently.
I know. Like we did this last week, except we launched on time. But anyway, thank you to everyone who's watching now. And thank you to everyone who's watching on the rerun, which this could be for all I know, with the feeling of deja vu. And thank you to Plasma Fire Graphics when the look of your book matters to you, because they're sponsoring the show. We appreciate them. And also, we're going to get our promotions in, get the power strip. Here are the plugs. Thank you to the Rising Tide Network for keeping the show going. We've got your entertainment and education 7 days a week. Following the show at 8 p.m. Eastern, we've got Amy Hale with her husband John talking to USA Today best-selling author Jason Nugent on Creative as Hale. Please check that out. Then at 9, it's Stupid O'Clock with Joe Dog McKeel and a whole bunch of great people checking in and talking all kinds of geeky stuff for a couple hours, and then they got the Stupid After Show. You will love that program. Then we've also got Patreon subscribers that we want to thank. Without them, we couldn't keep the show going, however incompetently I run it. But anyway, and that's not of imposter syndrome. That's the truth. Anyway, please check these people out. They've got their own Patreons that you'll want to check out. But anyway, it's a monthly subscription service where you can directly reward your favorite creators. And ours is at www.patreon.com/Brian K. Morris. Please check it out. Also, please check out Snow Ambition, brand new book by me from Ben Books. Go to abrahamsnow.com. Also, BobbyNash.com. And best of all, go to Amazon.com. That's the best place because you can buy it there. You will dig it. It's a real quick read, real exciting. You'll like it. And yeah, thank you guys. So how the heck are you?
Good. More amused than we have any right to be.
Indeed. Having way too much fun, as always.
Of course, and that's what we're here for. And also, speaking of comics, I want to put in a quick plug for tomorrow morning. Never mind the furthermore. We are going to have Varian Grant and Randy Zimmerman of Indie Volt Radio. checking us out. We're going to talk about their project on Indiegogo, the Indie Volt Revolt Sequential Art Collection. 130 pages and growing, so please check that out. It's in its final days. And Eric has got his campaign going for you remember that at that place there. So how's it going? What is your latest accomplishment with that, Eric?
We are at 136 backers, $4,919 with 12 days to go.
Beautiful. So we will have weekly updates on that. So if you have not contributed to that Kickstarter campaign, please do. It's going to be an awesome comic book. And at the address that Eric will show you again, because we'll let him introduce himself again and tell everybody how awesome he is. Then we'll go around the room and y'all can explain why you are amazing too. Eric?
I'm Eric S. Hawkins, creator of the Zonal World of Oz. I'm a independent comic creator, writer, penciler, inker, colorist, letterer. Did I forget one? I don't know if I forgot one. Issue 3 is now funding on Kickstarter. So go out to Kickstarter, look up the Zombie World of Oz. It'll take you right to it, and just hit that little backer button and say, I want to give money. And then in August, magically, you'll get a book with stuff.
What kind of stuff, Eric?
Stuff. So we've already unlocked 3 stretch goals. Getting ready to unlock the 4th one. Or is it no? 5th one? 4th? I've lost count. But you get a coaster, you get a button, you get trading cards, an extra trading card, a metal trading card, a ash can behind the curtain that tells all the little behind the stuff I do.
Excellent.
Here at my desk.
Where he never leaves. That's why he's got the pod catheter, new from Rising Tide Industries.
Yes.
If you want that look of relief, order yours today. Operators are standing by. Thank you, Eric. And now let's move to Clyde Hall. Clyde, introduce yourself if you would, please.
Eric, that changes your whole Wizard of Oz title, I think. That's a different kind of thing there. I am Clyde Hall. I am a longtime comic book reader and a elder statesman of geekery, including, but not limited to, vintage toys, cheesy movies, Monster Kid paraphernalia, horror comics, noir, and new pulp. And I'm also an independent author and a contributing writer at Stormgate Press. And this week, I got my copy of Pulp Reality 2. Pulp Reality 1 is a award-winning new pulp publication from Stormgate Press. And it had the first issue. Its first issue had the first adventure of my B-Man character. And in number 2, we have the continuing adventures of B-Man. What would you do if you had the power to channel all of the abilities or superpowers of any B-movie character that ever lived? B-Man can. And I'm also a comic book reviewer for Comic Book Spectrum and part of the Rising Tide Broadcast Network, a proud supporter of many of our publications, such as Eric's that we talked about, also Brian Rodman's, and we also have Cindy Cap's Animal Eye comic book coming up too. I've not seen an update on that, but if Cindy's watching, I'd like to hear how she's doing.
Excellent. Thank you very much, Clyde. And here he is, also part of the network here and a great creator and somewhat pleased with himself tonight, I should say, Mr. Brian Rodman. Brian, please introduce yourself to our waiting throngs.
I would love to introduce myself to your thong. I mean, I am Brian Rodman. Gross. I need an adult. I am Brian Rodman, the author and illustrator of books like The Nebulizer, which is coming to Kickstarter on May 28th. If you hate allergy season, kill it with The Nebulizer. It is a post-apocalyptic story action comedy about a a chronic asthmatic and his feisty AI controlled nebulizer suit as they fight through a post-apocalyptic world and just destroy allergen mutants along the way. It is a ton of fun. It's like TMNT meets Mad Max meets I Am Legend meets Bubble Boy. So it's a lot of fun. But I also am the writer and illustrator of Memoirs of an Angel, a horror fantasy comic book series, and this is the newest issue. So this is what Brian actually so graciously reviewed last week, and he gave a 10 out of 10, which, my goodness, thank you again for that. I am so excited, guys. It arrived today. For all of our backers that are watching, we will start shipping next week. We're just waiting on the bookmarks now. As soon as they get in, then we will be shipping them out. The book looks great. I got to brag on our printer, which is Comics Wellspring. They've done a fantastic job once again. Fast turnaround. We bought these 2 weeks ago. They're already here. Yeah, and just so good. And just a little taste, just a little tease of what's inside there. Just right there. You get a little spooky spook action going on in this page. Look at that. Yeah. No, this is.
Let me see that lettering.
All right, here you go. Here you go. Check out that lettering.
Okay.
Yeah. See. Now, just don't look at my early issues lettering because it's not as good. I am also, I'll do this one last thing and then I'll shut up. I am 1/3 of the Dastardly Dingoes podcast with Jeremy Woodring and Chad Nuss. You can go check us out on YouTube on just the Dastardly Dingoes Network. And we're just up to all kinds of shenanigans. So go check us out. We talk about comics and review indie creators and review wow, I can't speak. Review movies. That's actually really hard to say for some reason.
Should we start the show over again?
Yeah, I think I'm having a stroke.
Again?
Third time's the charm, Eric.
I'm Brian Rodman. Let's continue with the show, please. Somebody save me.
No.
Oh.
Yeah, I saw Brian's introduction. Yeah, what? Point to where? Oh, okay. Oh, sorry. Anyway, sorry about that. But anyway, I'm Brian K. Morris. You saw my introduction at the top of the show. I'm the ringleader here and barely in control. I still feel quite embarrassed about the way the show started. So anyway, we're going to move on and never speak of it again until it comes up. Anyway, Carl Witzman, hello to you. Glad you're here. And Carly, mwah, and Ted Davies Artistry, as always. Glad to see you here. Check out Drinking with the Davies tomorrow night at 6 p.m. where they're going to have some sort of adult beverage, and it's going to be delicious. And good evening, gents. Good evening to you, the Historical Fencing Guild, Friday nights at 8 p.m. Following Michaela Jade's Tidbits and Scribbles on YouTube. And Eric Hawkins, no. Anyway, we would be if we had turned on the. Yeah, it depends.
Well, when I asked you said, well, of course we are, dummy.
Yeah, duh. I wouldn't talk if we weren't live. But no, I didn't. I don't think I ran the timer the first time, so that was my excuse. Yeah, we need to run the timer. Skunk Rocker insists. Yeah. Carleen says, "Hey Ted, my books were delivered right after the cigar show. 2 headed your way as soon as Carl can find a box to put them in." What have we here?
What's going on? If we watch it, is it going to flash and then we're going to forget everything?
That's for Carl and Ted.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Look
I was
at
a
the
little
thing.
nervous at first.
I know. I wasn't sure what was happening. I was like, does it vibrate? Eric, what are you doing?
Yeah, like where?
I don't know if I'm going to save it to my 50th in July or when the campaign ends in 12 days, 13 days.
Yes, excellent. Both good choices. Both good choices.
You don't have a humidor. You need to.
I do have a humidor.
Okay.
Guys. Hey, Eric,
I keep a different kind of smoking substance in that.
Well, then. All right. Eric, hold that up
tastes
again.
Funny.
I can't give this damn thing to light for nothing.
I know. Look, everyone. If you look very closely, you can see the thing that kills Brian. Right there.
Yeah.
There's the thing. That's an asthmatic's nightmare right there, guys.
Uh-huh. I'm blowing the smoke towards Rodman. It's okay, Brian. He's been blowing smoke up my. Never mind.
Oh my!
Oh my! And says we're waiting, Eric. And Eric Hawkins says Brian has trouble hitting the button. And here we come. Look out! And Fab 3, yeah. Okay, Fab 4, yeah. We're down 3 due to inflation. And good morning in the Philippines, Cindy Cap. And Cindy Cap, please check out Animal Eye #1. Oh, wait a second. We just got an update on Animal Eye. Holy cats! I've got to share this screen. The other day,
are we funded?
Almost.
Hold on.
Sorry,
I'm going to hit the right buttons this time and see what happens. Here we go. Chrome tab, Animal Eye, share. Don't you love when the director like talks out loud? Like
Can you read out loud too?
Yeah, my lips
You
are
move your lips
exhausted.
when you're reading.
Yeah, my lips are exhausted, dude. Anyway, take a look at that.
Yes.
Ooh.
So close.
We are $415 away from Animal Eye #1 from Cindy Cap, CKOEPB.com, from being fully funded.
Hey, and look at that. I'm a backer. It says right there.
Backer. You as a backer. I am too, to be honest.
Me too.
So
Me
please
too.
check that out. Let's do her a good thing here. Let's get this address down. And it's such a process here.
Just
But
click
we
the
do it
little-
because
the
we-
little embed button right there.
I'm not in bed with anyone. I'm running a show. Duh.
Yeah. That bed button. Embed.
Oh, yeah. Oh, in bed. Oh, okay. Never mind. Well, I know to do it my way. So anyway, before I have to learn something else new, here we go. Here we go.
Clicking those buttons.
I'm just a little more deliberate, so I make sure I give them the attention they deserve. Anyway, there we go. Go to this link here, and let's get Cindy to the full amount by the end of this show. Cindy, congratulations. You have done an exemplary job of promoting this thing. And so I'm a backer. All God's children should be backers. So please check it out. And yes, she says, Clyde, we're at $29.85, 34 backers, 25 days ago. Interesting pattern developing in pledge levels. But as long as you get them, that's cool. But anyways, fantastic. Real proud of you, Cindy. We really are. And now we'll remove that, get us back to where we were. And anyway, let's get her over the top here. And let's see. Okay, and greetings, programs. Brian Hawkins, glad to see you. And we've been fine, Cindy. Hope you've been doing well too. And don't forget. And Ryan Permisson says he's shared this, and I believe him. Please don't forget to share this broadcast, whatever platform you're on. And also, if you're on Facebook, please give us a like and like the host, whoever's running this thing. It's kind of a thank you to them. And also, if you're on YouTube, please like this video, share it, and also please subscribe. I am one person away from having 500 subscribers.
Hey, Brian, check again.
Oh,
Uh-oh. I'm just looking like a goof this whole show. So much for my being on top of things. I have to refresh the screen. Here we go. 500. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Now 500 more. Come on.
Woohoo!
Yeah, 500 more before the end of the show. Okay. Yes, if someone has an independent book and they can get me 600 just to make sure subscribers for this end of the show, I will give your book a positive review. Anyway,
Or if all 500 subscribers have sock accounts, they can subscribe again.
There you go.
not that we endorse this sort of thing. Do it.
Nothing wrong with
Anyway.
having 2 accounts. Not at all.
push the red cherry like button. You know you want to.
All right, Clyde, now I'm convinced you could easily be a serial killer just by that.
I
name.
know. And isn't that somewhat comforting? And Ryan Permisson says, when are we getting that CBS merchandise? I want that shirt. Yeah.
Yeah.
I told you, Eric. You know, we got
Yeah.
Eric got on the Hero Forge site and came up with 4 little delightful little our action figures. Actually, I'm more of a sedentary figure, but anyway. And you 4 are the real CBS. Yes, we are. Yes, we are. Of course, I'm also reminded of the old Pat Paulson joke when the Smothers Brothers Comedy Hour was canceled, and Tommy Smothers was angry and said, well, you know, the C in CBS stands for censorship. That was the network that hosted the show. And Pat Paulson, one of their writers and frequent guests, said, well, Tommy, I understand you telling everyone that the C in CBS stood for censorship. Did you have to tell everyone what the other 2 letters stood for? So, yeah, deja vu all over again, but we're going to keep getting it right. We're going to keep doing it till we get it right. And Donna, awesome. Yeah. And Legend Traveling TARDIS, good to have you here, Christian. Can YouTube actually hold this much ego in one stream?
We're going to find out.
Yeah, these 3 are a buffer for the ego here. That's what it is. And
Fantasy, the ego's going to cave down on us.
That's right. That's right.
I'll hold it up.
Attention, Houston. The ego has landed. Anyway, fantasy standalone graphic novel recommendations.
Ooh, I got you, Ryan. I'll send you a DM later.
Yeah. Well, what are you thinking, Brian?
Fantasy, off the top of my head, I would say Saga. Yeah, that would be the first one, but that's not really a graphic novel. Dark One, I actually reviewed it a few weeks ago. That is a fantastic. It's hardback, and it is nice. I forgot. I'll send you the link, Ryan. It's a great story, fantastic story. Also, Birthright trade paperbacks, so beautiful. Yeah.
And I would recommend. I don't know if they're still in print. You might be able to still find them from IDW. But they had released a series of reprints of the early issues of Conan the Barbarian by Roy Thomas and Barry Windsor Smith and John Buscema, among others, as well as The Savage Sword of Conan, which were more black and white stories, which also had work by Smith and Buscema, and a couple by Neil Adams in there too. Which are not exactly displeasing to the eye. Those were written by many of them, I should say, were adaptations of original tales told by the creator Robert E. Howard back in the 30s. And Thomas wrote the first 10 years of the Conan stories for Marvel before he moved on to DC. And to me, that's about as good as epic fantasy gets, especially the early Smith stuff. It's beautiful work. So Clyde,
they've had some things with Elric of Melnibone that have come out. I don't have the titles or the companies. I'm not sure who's put them out, but those are beautiful.
You can find the entire collection on Comixology, Clyde.
Okay.
Yeah.
But the other thing that I like, and it's a Robert E. Howard thing again, but more than loved Conan back in the day, but for some reason, Solomon Kane grabbed my attention. I don't know how much of a graphic novel presentation that has, but if you can go back and I'm sure they have collected some of those from the Marvel specials and the Marvel magazine formats. But man, in fact I went and got all of the things that he had written of Solomon Kane and in short story form and read them after being introduced in comics because I love that character a lot. So.
Good stuff.
I would say, if you can wait till next year, the Zombie World of Oz graphic novel, trade paperback, launching with issue 4. That would be my suggestion.
Nice.
A powerful one that is. And while we're since we've also mentioned Robert E. Howard, you might also check out, for completion's sake, if nothing else, Kull the Conqueror. Kull was an ancient ancestor of Conan, and Roy Thomas and Jerry Conway did a great job of writing him. The best illustrations, though, were by the sister and brother team of Marie Severin and John Severin. Beautiful, beautiful work. Yeah, classic stuff. So anyway, we are well, Ryan, and we hope you are the same. Cindy Kemp, glad to see you here. And Pop Culture Avenger, good evening and hello to you. And congratulations on your new gig, Clyde. Glad to see libraries reopening.
Yes. Yeah, I had to stop during the pandemic. I had to stop being a trustee, and I've been a trustee for quite a while and really hurt, but My term was coming up, and I didn't want to run in an election again anyway during all that. So I was like, okay. But this week, one of the people that's been on for a long time is retiring, and they asked if I would. They just got reelected for a 6-year term, so they're like, if you would be willing to be appointed, you could be a trustee for 6 years before you have to run again. And I'm like, I could. Yes, I am aboard for that. And the library has been very, very good about putting up barriers and equipping themselves and staff wearing masks. They've had only one case of anybody that was employed there becoming sick, and they got over it and everything. But that's because they have taken precautions. So, and it's a great library. Brian, you've been there before.
Yeah, it's gorgeous.
You were a guest.
It was gorgeous. I'd love to come back.
I am proud to be able to be a trustee for them again. So thank you, Ryan.
That's great. Thank you. It's definitely thank you, Ryan. And Ryan, we want to thank you for that. I want to read all the snow stories in the series. Bobby Nash is an awesome guy. Definitely check out last night's clever title pending, because God knows there's enough of it. We set another record last night. I think last night was 3 hours and 56 minutes. We're going to break that 4-hour mark eventually.
Yeah, I was watching, then I stopped to do something else. I'm like, oh, let's see what else is on.
Yep.
Oh, Brian's still on?
I want to get to the point where you start a clever title pending and I can start Lord of the Rings. And then when I finish Lord of the Rings, you're still going. That's what I want, sir.
That's right. That Peter Jackson, he's a punk. I'm telling you, there's no staying
Screw
power.
him. You've got this.
That's right, my God. No, if you have somebody as interesting as Bobby Nash on, you're going to take as long as you need for that show. And thank you, Ryan. And I do hope you enjoy the Snow series. It is good. That's why I'm proud to contribute to it. So, and go Eric, go Pop Culture. Hello from Ted Davies Artistry and Legend of the Traveling TARDIS Tuesdays at 6 p.m. If you contribute on a certain tier, Eric Hawkins will allow you to sacrifice a virgin. There is only one offering for that. There is only one. Normally you have like 10 slots for that sort of thing. There is only one, and Eric's really gonna have to scrape on this one. Okay,
Finding the virgin's going to be the hard part.
Exactly. And say, I meant sacrifice someone's virginity.
Turn.
I think he's volunteering. And cool art in the background, Clyde. CD cap.
Nice.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna need some more moonshine, says Carly Carly.
Bring some here too. That'd be great.
Yeah.
Sure.
I think we all are. Pop Culture Avengers. Hail Ted Davies Artistry. Great interview on Pop last night.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely. And yay, and more moonshine. That's why I'm going to HalloCon on the weekend of the 29th and 30th of October. I am one of the guests there. We're going to have a good time. And thanks to you. And hail Eric Hawkins. Hey, and Clyde, we're at 29.85.34 backers 25 days ago. Interesting pattern developing. Okay, we've read that, and I'm going. And Dan Hallfield, also from Stupid Clock. Looking forward to seeing you tonight there. And Ted Davies Artistry, Fab 4 directions, but same destination. Destination greatness. You are welcome. Thank you. And Ringleader, more like Ringmaster. Yeah, I don't know about that. I'm like the animal trainer, but they're on all sides. And Historical Fencing Guild, speak of it when it comes up, drink. And to err is human, to really make a mess, you need a computer or a co-host. Anyway, and Kohima, you can't get another one by July. That's what Cookie says. Yeah, hitting the button. Yeah. And I've been looking for 30 years. And good evening, Teresa Dunn. Great show tonight with your Bill Sarden, that's right. That was the guest. And doing good. Everyone's doing good. That's what we like to see. Get Animal Eye because it's on the internet, and you know you can trust if it's on the internet. And Joe Dog McKeel's listening as I prep for later. Glad to have you here, Joe Dog. Hello, Cameron Christopher Payne. Good to see you here. And I had Snooty beat me up. It was amazing, says the Traveling TARDIS. And likes given on all channels I have. Thank you. Please like and share this show. We appreciate it. And I'm going, Cindy, as fast as I can. We're going to get caught up before we do the things. And thank you very much, Ted Davies. I'm as stunned as anyone is. And Clyde, I have some voiceover work for you in my next book. Whoa, awesome, Ted Davies.
Whoa.
I'm clenching at that. And sedimentary figure, maybe. and hello, everyone. Hi, Hamburglar. How are you? And the Historical Fencing Guild Fantasy, please check the Legend of Driss graphic novels. And Elric, we've mentioned that. Great stuff by P. Craig Russell, if I remember correctly. And Urban Fantasy, check Witchblade / Darkness. Oh, that's a good choice, too, for contemporary stuff. I tend not to think of contemporary. Contemporary fantasy is one thing, but fantasy to me is like the old pulp stuff pretty much, but I'm glad to have that. And the Dresden Files graphic novel and the Anita Blake Vampire Hunter graphic novels, definitely, those are good. And oops, that's the link for the Hybrids Indiegogo campaign. Yes, the Indiegogo campaign for Hybrids from Luke Stone. Please check that out too. We got all kinds of cool people doing all kinds of great things, especially Eric Hawkins and Cindy Kep. Please make sure that Cindy gets over the top. She just passed $3,000. She just hit 3,000.
Yes.
Thank you.
Great.
Thank you to whoever.
400 a month more to go.
Yep.
400.
Yep.
Let's see if we can make it happen during this show. I think I'd make Cindy's night. Probably ours too. So anyway, we have caught up with the comments. This is better than never mind the furthermore. That host is a hack. I don't know how he does it. But anyway, and let's see what we got here, and the Black Company, Glenn Cook. Oh yeah, that's true. And Ted Davies Artistry, who also just broke 2002. I want to personally thank everyone of the Fab Four for making Grim 101 a huge success. You all are amazing. Oh, congratulations, brother. Let's check on that real fast. And screen refreshes. Yes, he is asking for $1,000. He's at $2,154 with 48 backers. Well done, Ted, and congratulations also, Lisa Malone, for your help on that. That is super. Our people are doing so many good things. Proud of you all, seriously. And now here we have caught up with the comments. Finally, thanks for indulging me.
38 minutes later.
Yeah. So we started late, so it's only 31, so we're good. But anyway, let's relax now. Let's dial it back and have some nice, relaxing comic book reviews. Who would like to go first? Eric Hawkins would like to go first. How about it?
At it.
Just get it out of the way because I suck at them. But before I start my review, I wanted to show a book I got from crowdfunding. In the mail yesterday or day before, and it's because it's from a Nevermorian.
Oh,
yeah,
Grant
Lankard, yes,
yep.
Good man.
So I haven't read it yet, but I just got it. So I had a couple options this week. Two Moons #3, which I love the series so far, but I had to wait. I'm going to go wait on that one. So I'm going back to the Keanu Reeves book. Berserker. #2. So #1 supposedly sold out, but it's still in my comic shop, so I don't know. The first issue I gave it was a decent review. I didn't throw it across the room, so I think it's pretty good. It's written or scripted by Keanu Reeves, Matt Kent, art by Ron Garney, by Boom Studios, and it cost $3.99, which isn't bad for 24 pages or so. Left off the Berserker is kind of like this government agent that goes around doing all kinds of dirty work, the blood work, getting the blood. Apparently he just heals magically constantly. Then you find out he was born like in the Stone Ages. And that's how it ended the first issue. There's very, very little dialogue in the first issue. So I think I gave it some strikes on that. But this one, much more dialogue than there was. You learn a lot more about the character because he was born 80,000 years ago to a tribe somewhere. I don't know if it said where. I don't remember seeing where. But somewhere, some caveman tribe, 30 or 80,000 years ago, he was born. So he's telling all this to his therapist because that's why he does. Every time he comes back to a mission, he goes talks to his therapist. They're trying to find ways and make him better because he kind of just wants to die because he's been living so long. So apparently his parents, I can't say they're his parents because it's almost like he was a divine intervention here. They had wished and prayed to the gods to give them some kind of weapon to keep the surrounding tribes from raiding their village every season. So all of a sudden he's born, like in 60 days. So mom was pregnant for 60 days. He pops out. And the berserker part about it is because he has kind of like a bloodlust, a rage, that he goes berserk, and it just makes him feel good. And that's when he does all this killing and protecting of people. So he grows up very fast and becomes this, little powerful little feller.
Wow.
And most of this issue is about the. Okay. I didn't think there's a skeleton horse, but there's some ribs and a skeleton.
ASPCA, send your letters to Keanu@boomstudios.com.
So when I got to this dialogue-free page, 2-page spread, I noticed something kind of weird about the book, and there's no sound effects on that page, and there should be tons of sound effects on that page. So I had to go back and look through all the other pages I read. There's a couple sound effects, but they don't put many sound effects in here at all, which I found surprising. But so basically, it is not it might be 20 pages because there is like this much fluff at the end of a preview of another story from Boom. But, he is the protector of his village, and it was the only thing that brought him happiness. So that's where it ends off. He's telling his therapist that's the last time he remembers being happy, protecting his village all the time. And obviously, he's immortal. He heals himself. He can't be burned. He gets wounded, but he just heals right back up, just like Wolverine. So obviously, all his family's died. That's 80,000 years ago. So he just he's tired of being alone and just kind of wants to die. So I think they're trying the scientists and the government are trying to find a way to help him die, but to extract all of his abilities out of him and give them to someone else or other people or soldiers, make super soldiers like Captain America. But other than that, I mean, the book's good. It's entertaining. There's nothing wrong with it. Even though it's Keanu Reeves, and unlike a Keanu Reeves movie where you only hear Bill and Ted anytime Keanu speaks, I don't hear that when I'm reading the book, thankfully. But it's by Boom Studios. They've got a couple other books in the back that look actually kind of interesting. Might check those out too because they come out. One comes out in June. You got Once in Future, which I think is already out. That's not a new book. Heartbeat, which is by Brian Azzarello. No, he reviewed it. Marion Lovett, and there's a Wind, and there's a Red Mother. There's all kind. They got a lot of stuff coming out, and I never bought anything from them except for this. This is the first book I ever bought from them, and I've enjoyed it. I like the first issue. I like the second issue. I'll pick up the third issue. I don't remember if it's going to be an ongoing series or not. I think there's only 4 though, because they did the Kickstarter for it, but that was for the bound editions, which there might be more than 4 then, because I thought there was like 3 of those coming out, and they're supposed to be pretty thick. So I'm going to give it, just because of the awesomeness of the cover there. Look at that. All those weapons he's got over the ages because he's lived so long. Flintlock, broadsword, scimitar, samurai sword, modern weapons, Morning Star, all that good stuff. Let's give it a 8.5 out of 10.
Nice.
I was going to say 20, but we'll stick with it. No, it's a decent book. I would recommend it if you haven't picked up any adventure, nothing really serious, just some fun. Pick it up. Good book.
Sounds good. I also want to make clear that it is also available on hoopla.com. If you have a library card, you can tie into hoopla.com. The first 2 issues of that are online. So you can sample it, then go to your local comic shop and pick it up so it's in your collection. You have all the bragging rights. And
our library is getting Hoopla in the fall. So I get on board again just in time for that. So I'm so tickled. Nice. I've heard you and other people talk about it, and I can't wait for that.
Oh, it's a great service. It really is. I'm kind of surprised that, I read the first issue. I didn't have time today to read the second. I'm a little surprised about the sound effects because I've edited scripts for various comic companies. And to me, not putting that in is an amateur move.
Well, it seemed weird, especially because that 2-page spread is him ripping apart animals and people.
Yeah, does he?
And the only sound effect I found before that was him sticking his arm in a fire when he was a littler kid, like maybe 2. He goes,
Yeah.
that's all I found through. I was like, wait, that's weird.
Yeah, I was thinking, is it like some sort of like artsy director thing? You know, like where you see the gunfight and you just see everybody in slow motion pulling the triggers, and the smoke is rising and the dust is coming up, but you don't hear a thing.
Yeah,
which is kind of arty and entertaining for about 4 seconds.
Literally, I mean, not much, but I forgot I wanted to show Mr. Rodman this because it's a lettering issue.
Oh, yes.
What he thinks of this panel, right? Focus. Is it focus?
That's as good as we get, brother.
Yep.
Yeah. But see that one letter down below everything else? Over
which panel?
I see that one panel isn't lined up for.
Oh no!
That's
for that, you should toss it across the room.
Yeah, seriously.
Well, at first I thought that's really messed up, but the letter is B, so instead of, I guess he doesn't really have a name, so they just call him Berserk.
That's
so
still
she
a
just
really
shortens
weird.
it to B, but still, it's a weird.
That's a weird placement. Yeah. That's
So
not good.
Here's the one
it's
sound
very
effect
jarring.
right there.
Yeah, but his friends call him Buzz.
I think that's from the first issue. I mean, they had a flashback of that.
Yeah.
Apparently, he's a violent nurser. But I mean, he's ripping animals apart growing up. No sound effects. The big battle here, no sound of. Okay, it's only that one that him sizzling his arms. The only sound effect in the whole book.
Huh.
Which is strange. I mean, because there should be a lot of.
Yeah.
When you think of Keanu Reeves action movies, you don't think of Sam Peckinpah's silent, or slow motion. It just doesn't.
Dude, there should be a lot of dudes in here, but there's not a lot of dudes.
And at least one panel in the series has to say, "Whoa," at least one time.
Well, Historical Fencing Guild has a great comment here. So it's Berserker is a John Woo flick, but no dubs. Yeah,
there you go.
Right.
Which they are doing a movie about this, aren't they? I think I heard that.
I think so. Yeah.
I think I've heard that too, or it may be all the people during the Kickstarter campaign going, "This looks like a movie he wants to do."
Oh, hey, that's definitely what it was. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it had to be.
And I'm like, well, duh.
But surprisingly, dude, it's not that bad. Whoa.
Oh, that's wonderful. And Carl Whisper says, Beowulf and Keisha Acuff, mwah, glad to see you here, beautiful. And thank you to everyone who has shared, liked, and helped fund Grib 101. You are fantastic, and I'm so grateful. Dude, thank you for having that. I'm so proud of you. And seems pretty cool. It is a pretty good book. It is a pretty good book, Berserker. But apparently, if you're looking for sound effects, this ain't the one. And Man of War, pretty much. He's kind of weaponized by the government. Yeah. So, that's pretty much it in a thing. But anyway, to the people behind that book, apparently I need to send them my extra copy of this book. It sounds like. So one of the best books, by the way, if you're into comic lettering, it's written by Richard Starkings of Comic Craft, and who know how to do it well. So, and Carl, it's spelled Beowulf. Mm-hmm. And Historical Fencing Guild says, I will always support movies with Keanu Reeves shooting stuff, though, hoping for Keanu Stein 2. Yes, they have been talking the last couple of years that they want to do another Constantine.
I would be totally for that. I love that movie. It's not comic book accurate, but it's awesome.
The movie's good.
Love it. Yeah,
the Constantine movie.
It's on its own.
But as a fun movie, it is good.
Yeah.
If you take it on its own measures, I
always approach the movie versions of comics as an Elseworlds thing anyway.
Yeah.
So unless it's a direct adaptation like 300 or Watchmen, something like that. Right. But if it's just taking years and years of comics and making a movie out of it, you can't really stay true really perfectly. You're going to do someone's iteration of it where other people are like, that's not the Constantine I grew up with. So, yeah.
which could be a tease for a potential subject later in this show, or possibly next week, depending on how long we take. Okay. And Historical Fencing Guild says, please send me the link to the guide for lettering. Send me a DM, Nick. But it's called Comic Book Lettering. And you can get it. I know it is still in print. It is written. It's called Comic Book Lettering, The Comic Craft Way by Richard Starkings, published by Active Images, but check it out. It should be available on Amazon. So, but send me a DM on Amazon, and I'll find you a link. Constantine War was a great what if. I agree completely. So anyway, let's push on with the reviews. Who would like to go next? Oh, Brian Rodman would love to go next. I
volunteer as tribute.
There we go. There's the minefield, young sheep. Wander forward.
Yes, come with me. No. This week, it's so ridiculous, yet so amazing. It is Apex Cybernetic Samurai Owl, which... yes, that is exactly the reaction you should have. However, it has... the entire time I read this, it was, just oozes original Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles by Eastman and Laird. Like, it has that same tone, same vibe, where it just takes a ridiculous idea, but it takes itself seriously, but not too seriously. Like there's no funny jokes or anything like that. It's a ridiculous concept that they actually made a really cool story out of. And it is I'll give you one more look at that really cool cover there.
Nice.
Yeah, really cool cover. And I actually have the first 2 issues. That cover just amazing.
There's a lot of energy in that.
Yeah, it's so well drawn. So it's written and colored by Kenny Aiken. It is penciled and inked by Brian Bellondo. The letters are done by Justin Birch, and Garrett Gunn is the editor. And the logo designed for the Apex logo is by Rich Bloom. And just starting off the comic, I know I said it gives off a lot of the story and the tone is very original Eastman and Laird Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. However, the artwork is very Mike Mignola-esque. So just really a lot of heavy blacks, and just really cool. Here's another one right here. Just a really cool, a lot of one-page, just really pretty art in this. It's very stylized. Yeah, coloring is great as well. The lettering is great. And you talk about sound effects. My gosh, there's sound effects all over. There's sound effects all over this book. So yeah, just on these 2 pages, there you go, Eric. That'll make up for Berserker. There you go. Yeah, just so good. So the story, it's a really simple story. There is apparently the government in Japan has been building this cybernetic owl. And it's a weaponized cybernetic, so it's like an android kind of assassin type thing. We don't really know too much about that yet.
Kaiju size?
But no, not kaiju size. No. But see, you look at they're keeping him in like a giant or a little tube there. Cool. So yeah, really cool imagery in this. So those are the guards. He breaks out at the beginning. And that's where all the alarms and everything you saw, all those sound effects. He breaks out, blows stuff up, goes free. And then we fast forward 5 years later to Japan, elsewhere in the countryside, and he is being trained as a samurai. And it is, like I said, it's just a really ridiculous, goofy idea, but man, it's cool. It's just and look at that artwork, man. He's training with his sensei. And it's just so well done. These guys did a great job. The story is very simple. I would say that's the only negative thing that I could really find. about the book. Is everything else is so consistent, and it's not bad that it's a simple story. It's just not a whole lot happens. There's not a ton of dialogue in the first issue. The second issue does make up for that for sure. And the second issue really is just action nonstop. But it's really good storytelling. It's really fun. Like I said, if you enjoy Eastman and Laird's Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, if you enjoy Mike Mignola's artwork, my goodness, this is for you. I am going to give this an easy 9 out of 10.
Nice.
You can find it. Yeah, you can find it if you go to Kenny Aiken's Instagram. This is the easiest way I found it. Just go to his link in his Instagram account, and the first 2 issues you can actually buy as a bundle on his online store. And issue 3 is actually on Kickstarter right now until I believe I think we are in. Let's see. Yeah, we have 4 days left to go on that. And if you want to go there and get caught up, you totally can. He has great catch up tiers and. But yeah, the first 2 issues are available right now online. You can go buy them, and it is a fantastic, fun, well put together comic that just I've read it twice now just for funsies. Like I read it. I read the first issue when I first got it, and then I recently read both of them together a couple weeks ago. And then I read them both this week again, just because they're that much fun. So yeah, I can't recommend them enough. Go check out it's Kenny Aiken. I can put a link in the on the Facebook page, so that way everyone who's watching can see that and have an easy access to it. But yeah, go if that interests you at all. I would highly suggest go to the Kickstarter. Yeah, it's great.
Does sound good.
The absurd played straight.
Yes.
Without ever wavering.
Yeah.
I love that when they do it right. And this looks like it's done
It's
well.
done very right. It
Does
is
Al
great.
ever
Yeah.
hoot?
Not yet. Not yet.
Gotta be a hoot.
Oh,
Right. Give him time.
So, but like just page 1, right? Like this is so like the sensei right there. The sensei is just meditating, and he senses the owl. And then that's when you go to the lab where the cybernetic owl is being held, and it's just it's very mysterious.
That's who.
Simple story, really cool though. I love it. I'm excited for where it's going.
That's great. And we have some comments here. Cindy Cap says fascinating, but Cindy, I'm still in the room. I can hear you. Okay. But I've been called worse. But she's switching to her computer. Okay, very, very good. Very good. And Kaiju, says Joe Dog McKeel. Oh, no, not a Kaiju. Never mind. Dan Holifield says no Kaiju tacos. There we go. Well, it isn't Tuesday yet. And fire. And Alt, people reading comics for funsies, asked the Historical Fencing Guild. Sam Al Jackson, hoot mother.
Oh no.
Yeah, there we go.
Oh, gosh.
There we go. Now we're talking class. Here we go. Well, thank you very much, Brian. That was great. 2 very, very excellent reviews so far. And I would like to go next because we all know that, we shouldn't follow Clyde because, he's awesome. He's really great. He preps and stuff. My idea of prepping is reading all the way through the book. But anyway, that's what we call research, kids. That explains everything. So anyway, I volunteered to go next. And thank you, host. I would be glad to. Anyway, my review, this is kind of a review of 2 books, actually. One is released this week, Superman number 31. And the other one was released like a week or 2 ago, Action Comics number 1030. Both of them from DC Comics. Both of them rated 13 plus, and they're $4.99 a piece because they have extra pages on them. Let's start with Superman number 31. They both have a very, very good writer on them currently, Philip Kennedy Johnson, who, as I've said before in earlier reviews, that he really has nailed the characters of Superman, and like Peter Tomasi, a couple writers before him, has really brought to the fore the father-son relationship between Clark Kent and his son John. And the art in this is by Scott Guluski, who is also assisted by Norm Rapamund, formerly of Wildstorm Studios, and Gabe Eltreb as the colorist, Dave Sharp as the letterer. John Timms did this cover here, which we'll talk about in a moment because it relates to this one too. But anyway, the plot in here is the continuation from last issue, where Superman receives a signal from a far-off planet. His son goes with him. The son is a little concerned because Dad is showing signs of his powers are waning after an encounter that involved Amanda Waller a couple issues prior to this. And we're entering a point in John's history, the son, where he doesn't know what happened to his dad because he read the historical records when he was with the Legion of Superheroes. He thinks this is when Dad buys it. Okay. And it's kind of fun to watch the various reactions of his friends. And of course, Lois, she's like, you've died before. What else is new? And of course, the son is really concerned about it. But in this issue, John demonstrates, you see the heat vision coming out of his eyes. He demonstrates a new version of heat vision, which is very well done. Doesn't seem quite as forced as that Nova explosion of Jeff Johns from about 10 years ago. But anyway, it's a mystery about an old ally of Superman's who dies in this alien culture. But there is something happening behind the scenes that could endanger not just Superman, but all life as we know it. Now, Eric, you'll be glad to know, by the time we get up to page 4, we have a Zernt.
Good.
And a Shrek, the panel afterwards, and then a Crackoom. You can't go wrong with a good Crackoom.
We'll write that one down. I like that one.
Yeah, so it gets better, and I think there's a couple, but it's very quiet, this issue. It's not exactly slam bang action, but there's a lot of great concepts in this alien hierarchy where children are taught to fear their parents for a reasonable reason. And John also talks about why he's concerned and he gives a good reason why he will never be Superman. And then we also have a rumble followed by not just one, not just two, not just three, but 4 dooms. Your guide to good literature. And this one is beautiful. In Action Comics, we're kind of moving towards what was both of these are kind of pushing us towards future state, where John Kent is the new Superman, whether he likes it or not, and Superman is going to War World to fight for the people there. Of course, he's going to be encountering Mongol and stuff. Now, like I said, Philip Kennedy Johnson is not a flashy writer, but he has these great insights that make the book worth reading. And the stories have been solid, if not in the same vein as classic Superman with the big battles, lots of super strength stuff going on. It's very intelligent, though. Now, I will say a couple of things. I have 2 kvetches. One are the backup series. In this one, it takes place in Bibbo's bar. Bibbo runs the Ace of Clubs in Suicide Slum. And Bilbo Baggins, yeah. And he's got this great ring, but nobody can find it. Anyway, he's had different guest stars. Last issue was Ambush Bug. And if you're a fan of Ambush Bug like I am, those were great, crazy stories by Keith Giffen and Robert Lauren Fleming. And the story had none of the humor, none of the wackiness. And in this one, we have a couple of a newer version of Gangbuster and Loose Cannon, who had his own comic back in the 90s for about 3 or 4 minutes. And they're just kind of meh. Loose Cannon is, kind of like a tool used by the hidden bad guy. Can't really get into any of the other characters in this one. And the backup in here is the Midnighter from The Authority, who I love. It's a great concept. He's kind of like a wrong version of Batman all the way around. And for 2 issues, all he's done is sit around in his room talking to his new AI. It's like my dinner with Andre without the excitement. But anyway, one thing I want to point out about the covers, though, this is a beautiful cover. This would make a great poster. You'll go blind looking for this scene in the book. This one, though, is representative. Both John and Superman, spoilers, do get attacked by the alien entity, and of course, John L, as someone calls him, uses his heat vision in a new and exciting way. And we've had this discussion before between the four of us about how comic covers are no longer representative of the interior. Now, if you pick up like a DC variant cover, I expect that, because that's more like a poster, something you hang on your door or whatever. Now, the art inside is really nice by Daniel Sampier. It's really beautiful artwork, well done inside, but the cover has nothing to do with what's inside. So I would say the backup features I give about a 4, to be honest, mostly because they are not really tripping my trigger, especially the Midnighter one. The Superman stories themselves, I'm given 8.5 for the writing alone. The art has been very good. Gulewski's style is very evocative of Phil Hester, who preceded him on this title. And it is nice. He does tell a great story. But like I said, it's a very quiet story, but a lot of stuff to mull over mentally. But I give the Superman stories an 8.5. The covers, I give one of them, I give this one a 9.5, and I give this one a 9.5 only because it looks pretty, but it doesn't have a damn thing to do with what's going on inside. But anyway, I think the Superman books are worth picking up again. I was a little worried about what they would be like once Brian Michael Bendis left, but they're better. Bendis did okay, but it took him 3 years to tell basically 2 stories. And a couple of them he never wrapped up. So
a lot of people didn't like Bendis on there, right?
Yeah. They were worried about how, given his Marvel work, what he would do to the characters. And he did seem to fight his penchant for page after page after page after page of dialogue. I mean, I give him points. He's the best dialogue guy in the industry. And it's very realistic, very clever, very natural. But there's a damn lot of it, and it kind of gets in the way of the plot when you can find it, especially in the last 6 months of both his Superman and his
more dialogue than Grant Morrison.
Grant Morrison, comparatively, is in charge of the sound effects on Berserker.
Wow.
Yeah. And like writers like Neil Gaiman or Grant Morrison or Alan Moore, this Johnson doesn't have like a lot of flashy ideas, but he just handles relationships so very well that I think that alone is worth continuing to follow Superman, just because it's awesome. So there. And hello, Bill Sarden. Good to see you there. Great interview tonight on Teresa Dunn's show. Well done, sir. And so that's my review on the Superman books.
I may have to pick it up just to see what My Dinner with Andre would be like without the combat scenes. Because that's when they made the movie. So
it took the Princess Bride to make me a Wallace Shawn fan. Let's put it that way. It's like, I have to say that My Dinner with Andre, for those who've never seen it, don't. It's two very unlikable people having dinner with each other and talking and being like self-indulgent, and it's all about me. And it's like, why is Siskel and Ebert liking this film? I want to go up and punch both of them. No, but that's just me being old and cranky. So anyway, that's our review of the Superman books, and we hope you'll pick them up. Really, they are the lead stories are worth checking out. And speaking of being worth checking out, we want to go to the gold standard here of comic reviewing.
I have to change my hat.
Yeah, you better get the hat ready, man.
You gotta get
There you go.
Oh, there you go.
Hat.
Yeah, we live and die by our hats on here. What have you done with the other Clyde Hall?
Game. Every time you say gold standard, I was like, it could be a drinking game. Gold standard. And then my review would be all of like, This is how.
My name is Clyde.
You're
I
good.
like comics. Bye-bye.
The entire craft team can sod off. I'm done. I'm done.
Yeah.
Well, the hat was a better
this is
option, I
my
think.
Samuel L. Jackson review, mother.
Brian K. Morris last week flashed us so quickly
What?
with
Oh,
this.
Glad I missed that.
He had a recommendation from a viewer. I think it was Sir Nick Tockert, but I'm not sure. But they recommended the Old Gods of Appalachia as something that was similar to my review. Was that Nick? Do you remember? I think it was, but I only saw it very quickly.
Nick, take a bow if it was you.
But I checked it out, and I listened to the intro and the first couple of episodes, and oh my gosh, it's going to be like a daily. And there's quite a backlog of it. It's like a couple of seasons, I think. So, but yes, this was really good stuff. So thank you for that recommendation. I enjoyed what I have heard so far of it. Okay, for a comic book that is absolutely cover correct for the contents, going to do something different this week. And it also kind of ties in with our theme of movies and film, but Minions. It's Minion Sports #2, and of course based on the Minion movies and the Minion characters from Despicable Me. So this is absolutely an accurate depiction of what you can expect inside. Not a problem there. If you want some sound effects, this is a pretty good. We got some poppity, followed by some be-doo, as they bring the. So it's subtle, it's small, but it works. I think it's appropriate for the book. The artist that has done most of this illustration and the lettering and everything, he's worked for Illumination Universal, so you get a feel that this is more energetic as the movies because of his experience with it. And this is the sort of things that you get. You have, look, we are going to try out this trampoline, this small trampoline. It doesn't bounce very much. I know, let's get Super Ball goop and replace the surface with that. Oh, look, this is what the space shuttle looks like. Great, okay. That is kind of the way that to me, that was one of the more clever things in here. And it was very well represented. And what really got me, though, there's some correlations to Mad Magazine and the way they do their things. They don't have a gatefold cover, but they have some very wonderful poster level things, including the cover. And then Gru makes a little cameo there. Very nice. But this is what got me. They do a Where's Waldo with the Minions. All you have to do is find the Minion with the camera, taking the pictures. I looked for a while. It's a challenge. It's very good in that respect. But so to do something a little bit different, because we do a lot of adult level comics, but I wanted to do something if a grandfather or a parent was looking for something for their kids, I wanted to do something that would review a book that they might consider. And Minion Sports #2 is from Titan Comics. I read another Titan comic this week, The Girl Who Electrified Tesla. And so they can do more grown-up things, and they can do some historical. It's a historical book. I really like that. So this is not everything that they produce, but they also have a universal tie-in. So this is written by Stephen Lepeau, and it's illustrated and also lettered by Renaud Collin. Maturity level is all ages. In 2010, two would-be supervillains battled for supremacy. One stood as a clever reverse Superman amalgam, a super genius destined for greatness, but relegated to living in the shadow of a very handsome, powerful demigod, as altruistic as he was beloved. The other melded a kooky Addams Family appeal with cute orphan characters and some lowbrow slapstick. Well, here we are 11 years later, and the final tally is Megamind with an IMDb score of 7.2, Despicable Me charting slightly higher at 7.6, but very close, almost a draw. But the ultimate victory in this battle of evil titans isn't about critical ratings or box office, or it's not about critical ratings. It is about box office and merchandising. Megamind brought in more than double its production cost, with no sequels unless you count the short film Megamind: The Button of Doom. Meanwhile, Despicable Me cost less to make, but brought in 7 times more profit than investment, which is why the 5th Despicable Me film, Minions: The Rise of Gru, has been moved to a release date of July 2022. They had scheduled that to come out earlier, but COVID delayed its big screen premiere. And the number of sequels for the Despicable Me franchise is a minimum of 5, and that is not even counting the planned Despicable Me 4 and last year's Minions Holiday Special TV show and 14 short films. What reasons for such vastly differing receipts and offshoots? There are many, but one of those factors were Minions. Oh, both movies had minions. Megamind, the intelligent fish named Minion, Gru, the plethora of zany yellow underlings, but only that latter registered on an audience Richter scale of entertaining, guffaw-inspiring goofiness. In fact, greater and greater attention and marketing dollars have been granted to these banana-loving nimrods than to Gru or his daughters or that entire franchise. And as they hit the decade mark of the franchise's age, you see it more and more. A lot of attention to these characters because they're very profitable. Reading the Titan Comics Minion Sports #2, I get flashbacks to slapstick humor of the Three Stooges. And when people talk about the characters, about how adults bemoaned the Stooges, corny sight gags, over-the-top cartoon violence, and silly wordplay. Who remembers? Study this map carefully. You know, it's all part of the Stooges mystique for kids. Well, as kids, we were too busy catching every syndicated short of the Stooges we could find, hoping that it was a curly one, and poking our friends in the eyes to care. Parents were also overwrought regarding the trashy humor of Mad Magazine, but we read that too. So Minions Sports #2 reminds me of a Mad Magazine light, specifically a sports-themed collection of spy versus spy scripts. The scripting by the French writer, Stéphane Lepeau. He is an author of a wide variety of graphic novels and books there, and his scripting relies very little on wordplay, save for minimal minionese, exclamations, a few sound effects, and a few picto balloons. So any level of child reader can pretty much appreciate it. The humor is situational, like the Howard Fine and Howard shorts. It's prone to slapstick violence. There are a few panels, there's one boxing one especially, less cartoonish and actually a little bit more literal in the inevitable comedic outcomes. Most payoff panels are predictable. The punchlines are familiar, but for a target audience of readers not yet aged into double digits, I think they will seem fresher than they did to me. Mad Magazine, this is my only complaint. When I was a child, the Mad Magazine, sometimes they would have an insightfulness to them that I would actually think about afterwards. I don't know that that will be the case with these for the most part. Other times, the writer does some truly fresh and fun concepts. He has a clear vision of what makes the Minions popular, and he sometimes builds beyond the established boundaries. In this issue, for example, he represents all kinds of sports, not just the usual fare. You got equestrian, you got bowling, you got fishing, you got bicycling, and more to provide a humor strip subject that a wide variety of young readers can relate to, I think. Belgian illustrator, colorist, and letterer Renaud Collin attended art school in Brussels, and he's been an animator for Illumination Studios and Universal, as well as the creator of some Flash technology projects for education. It had to be a challenge for him capturing the physicality of Minions in a 2D medium, but as I've always imagined, the difficulty in capturing the same humor in a Dell or Gold Key Three Stooges comic of my childhood, but he, because of his animation experience, he succeeds more than it falls flat. He does some very nice, breathtaking, two-dimensional illustrations, like a sort of like a still life of a great cartoon. That's what a lot of the panels come off as. And again, you didn't have the gatefold cover, but that Find a Minion, I love that splash. That's very clever and challenging. And the mini posters, kids, I think, will want to like tear them out and put them on the wall. And while the comic book collectors in us may cringe, I say let them. And then if you really want to, buy an extra copy and bag it and board it and let them see it when they get older. But overall, these are truly salad days for mature, serious comic books. Many of us, longtime lovers of the art form, having lived through the comics code and droughts of quality material, are gratified at that. But it never, ever hurts to look at the new titles made for younger readers. Some, like these Titan Comics offerings, remind us of times when Richie Rich and Little Audrey and Casper brought a bit of after-school amusement, an afternoon of needed laughter into our childhoods. And if we needed it back then, young readers today need it even more. And it's what funny books were originally made for. And it's good seeing companies with talented creative teams like this, along with professionals like Art Balthazar and Sholey Fish and Dario Brazula, continuing that tradition with such heart. My score on Minion Sports number 2 is 7.5 out of 10.
Nice.
Cool.
Nice.
It does sound good. That does sound really good. And the other,
If you like the movies, it's great, and it's for little kids, but it's really well done, I think.
yeah. Well, yeah, and I think we need to pay more attention, especially we older fans need to pay more attention to stuff that should be out for younger readers, because we've discussed this before. We all had gateway comics that got us into reading the mainstream stuff, but there's not. I don't know that there's as much anymore, or at least if nothing else, it's harder to find.
It is harder to find, and that's honestly, the hashtag always promote. But in all seriousness, like that's why I wanted to do the nebulizer, because it is much like Apex. It's ridiculous, it's fun, and it's for all ages. The only violence you're gonna get is green, goop coming out of a allergen mutant when it gets, blown up. There's not even bullets in this comic. It's like it's medicine ray guns. Like that's what he's using. So like it's silly, it's goofy, it's fun, it's comedic. And we need more of those comics alongside the serious ones. I mean, we all do, adult driven stories, and that's good. That's a great thing, but we need something to cultivate the future of comics. And that, I'm with you guys. I think that's really lacking right now.
Yeah. And we also have Grant Lankard. We mentioned you earlier. We're not going to say what we said, though. Anyway, we mean like that. And yay for hats. There we go. See, you fulfilled one pledge. That's the only one you needed to. And there's Cindy kept saying yay for hats and asked, why is Clyde imitating me? And yes, the proper person was credited with the concept for this. Yes, from the Historical Fencing Guild, who takes his bow. And Ted Davies goes next on Drinking with the Davies, drunk comic book reviews with sound effects by Ted. And Carl Witzman says that could go over well. Ted, be careful or you'll have to do another show. I will give up Nevermind the Furthermore if you will fill in the slot there. And the Hungover Show and Benadryl Bazooka. There we go. There's your product placement for you, Brian.
Right, no joke.
Oh, well, we are at 8:25. How about we save the movie thing for next week?
I think that's a good idea.
All right, but I think we can take a few minutes and cover the other one. I had a problem this week going to my local comic book store. Inspired by these three wonderful gentlemen, I went looking for something fresh and entertaining.
So you bought DC books?
Well, the thing was, I was about to, because that was the closest thing I could find. Everything else just looked kind of like meh, like, oh, I've seen this before. The art doesn't excite me. I'm looking for something that'll make me happy, something that'll make me feel good. And I looked at Justice League Last Ride, which is written by Chip Zdarsky and drawn by Miguel Mendonca. Now, I have to look at it from notes because I did not pick up that book. Because I started flipping through it, and I'm like, this is grim. Batman and Superman are arguing again. Supposedly, Batman did something that led to the death of one of the oldest JLA members. Spoilers.
Imagine that, Batman doing that.
I know. Who would have thought such a thing? But anyway, it was just so unrelentingly grim that I'm a Justice League fan from way back. I mean, I love buying the old Justice League because I was a Superman fan. I love Flash, Wonder Woman, Batman, Green Lantern, all these guys. I was reading Green Arrow and Aquaman and the backup books and the Mort Weisinger backup books. And this was the place I could spend the same money and get all of them in one spot, And I've been through the Justice League in its various iterations over the years, and I just could not bring myself to pick up this book. And it got me to wondering, and I threw this out in front of the panel here. Now we'll let everyone weigh in on it. What would it take to get you to not pick up a book of a character that you have loved for ages? Like if you're a Spider-Man fan, what would they have to do to make you put that book back on the rack? Sort of thing.
Yeah. I think, and we talked about this, quite a bit today. I think for me, it's very much, changing who the character is, for various reasons. It could be pandering to, a group just to get book sales up. It could be, essentially running out of ideas. So you're just like, oh, well, let's make him a clone. That's, Peter Parker has been a clone this whole time and it's somebody else, like that kind of stuff. Like it's just, and then I would even say I had a big problem with Superman in the New 52.
I can see that.
They made him arrogant, sarcastic. And
Took
I
his
was like,
underwear away?
They took his underwear away, which maybe that's why he was arrogant. Maybe that's why he was sarcastic. I know he was grumpy because he didn't have underwear, but
started wearing armor. If you start chafing, brother, I'm telling you.
But that kind of stuff. Like if you just, when they did that, I think that's probably the one thing. The biggest example I could think of was, like that kind of, when you change when you reboot a character, change the character's personality to something that is the opposite of what makes that character who they are. That's when I stop reading. For me, because that's not the same character anymore. If you wanted to do a character like that but different, then create a new character.
Right. Yeah. Right.
And if it doesn't work, Eric, you said that today. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work. But you
tried at least.
Right, exactly. But don't change a well-established character just because you want to, change it up to essentially reboot it to get more sales, because that's what it all comes down to.
Yeah,
mine is a mirror of that, except instead of reinventing the character for a series, I have a big event, and I'm a big name writer or artist or editor, and I need this character to be the bad guy. And I want him to be somebody that they won't expect. So I'm going to take this character and make him or her exactly not like she's ever been written before, without really explaining or saying why there's been a change in this character. And at best, it's lazy to go, no one will expect this. Okay, well, can you write it so that it makes sense?
Yeah.
No, I'm just going to do it because of the story.
Yeah.
Okay. Or at worst, it's going to be this character that I don't like personally. Well, that's a pretty popular character. They've got a following. That just makes it more why that should be the character, because no one will expect it. And also, this is my chance to make them suck it.
Mm-hmm.
And I could name a creator that I feel is guilty of this. I won't.
Sounds like
bing. But I followed an entire special event that I thought the concept was excellent, I could not wait to get my hands on this. And then I went, are you kidding me?
Mm-hmm.
You're going to take a character that is like this and you're going to, for no reason that really makes any sense that I can see. So same kind of a thing. It's just for a different purpose, but write the character wrong because my story needs that. And I don't like that character.
Yeah, I can see. I was getting 0 Hour flashbacks while you were talking, Clyde. Or like Green Lantern when he was infected by parallax.
Yes.
That was, I think, a terrible example.
Yeah, and see, it's weird for me because, like, I actually grew up with that had already happened,
right?
And it was done, and so it was always like a piece of his history that I actually like. But I can totally understand from your perspective going like, as that's happening, like, what am I reading? He's the bad guy now and he's committing genocide? What is happening here? Yeah, that would drive me nuts.
And then for about 2 years, he was the Spectre too. So
that's weird.
Now, see, I like that series. I liked it. I didn't care very much for 0 Hour, and seeing what he did there. But the redemption arc of him being the Spectre,
right?
I kind of like that because he became, instead of a spirit of retribution, he became a spirit of redemption.
I did,
and
like
some of the stories, were very, very good. If you're going to do that to the character, bringing him back that way and having a new, you start using the Spectre power and it's like the Ring power, and they're like, no, you have a lot more power. And seeing him grow into that, I like that version of the Spectre. And I've been a Spectre fan for years. So, my guy's either it's the guy with no powers like Wildcat, or the guy with all the powers like the Spectre. And I like that version. But I'm a very small minority of DC fans that feel that way. But
yeah. Well, and as we were talking, we've got a private thread where the four of us talk all week long about this sort of thing. And if the audience hasn't figured that out yet, that we do talk to each other and we actually enjoy it.
It's a secret.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, we just come onto the show. We don't know what we're going to talk about.
I've never met these people before in my life. I'm only here so I don't get fined.
And nobody will find you on here, trust me. But anyway, I don't mind a change if there is an excellent explanation for it. Mm-hmm. And one of the examples I gave to these guys earlier was Swamp Thing.
Yeah.
Up to a certain point, he was this laboratory guy that got splashed with chemicals, went through a fire, and came back as a plant guy. Mm-hmm. In the anatomy lesson in Saga of the Swamp Thing 21, we find out that's not true. But Alan Moore, who wrote that issue, had an incredibly plausible idea to justify it. Mm-hmm. And that has been the norm of the character ever since. And a more recent one that, and I know this isn't going to get me any positive mail, Alan Scott. Yeah. Now I'm big on legacy characters. I am huge on legacy characters. But in the recent Infinite Universe thing from DC, there was a very thoughtful small story where he's talking to his two children, who are both in Infinity Incorporated, and Alan Scott revealed, a little bit of backtracking here. During the New 52, they came out with a new Justice Society called Earth 2, and in it they had a version of Alan Scott who was gay. I don't care that he's gay. That's fine. Everyone should have a representation in comics. Mm-hmm. But the idea that DC was going to, that felt like pandering.
Yeah.
The way it was handled there felt like pandering to me. But this latest issue in Infinite Universe was Alan Scott explaining to his children that he loves them. He loves these kids with all his heart, and he loved their mothers. But he wasn't being true to himself. And there are many people out in the world who are closeted gays and suffer as a result. And I'm seeing in this potential positive stories that if it's handled right is not going to sound like, hey, attention demographic, this is the story you need to buy if you want to see more of it. And it doesn't really invalidate anything that has happened with the character up to this point.
Yeah.
it is just like all of a sudden he realizes what his sexual preference truly is. And now I see this as a possibility of like, he can have some stories where it's that internal struggle element.
Yeah.
And that's why I like this, but again, this sort of thing is so rare.
Well, and
almost don't want anyone to try it because you can't guarantee the results.
And I gave in our group message, the Hooded Justice from HBO Max's The Watchmen series, the sequel series to the graphic novel. The story that they gave Hooded Justice, because in the graphic novel, he's mysterious. Mm-hmm. You don't know anything about him. You never find out who he is, all that stuff. And in the HBO series, they give him this meaningful, moving. In fact, this was my favorite part of the show, was just his backstory and why it meant so much to literally everything that came after his story in the early years of the 1920s and 30s, in Watchmen, the graphic novel. And so that kind of stuff, when you take a character that is established, but you don't know a whole lot about him, and you give him an identity, you could do whatever you want with that identity, because we don't know who this person actually is. Really, they're not established at all. Right. And I think the way that they handled it, I mean, spoiler alert, he is portrayed in the graphic novel as a white man, because you can see the white skin under his mask. Well, in the show, they reveal that, because nobody would trust a black man who's a superhero in this time, he painted his eyes to look white. Mm-hmm. And so that, and then they did this whole beautiful backstory of him, struggling with homosexuality and what that meant for him as a black man in this time, and loving a woman as well. And it's just really, it was such a good, it wasn't pandering at all. It was giving this character an identity. And that, I think, is really where the good storytelling lands. It's not just recreating already established characters. Right. It's giving life to new ones. Right.
Depth based on historical.
Absolutely.
When historical times of the character, like in Alan Scott's case, can actually play into giving that depth, because this was a time in America when people weren't always aware. They knew that they were different. Some were very aware that they were gay, but I think that there were some that didn't understand, or didn't, there was nothing in their culture to really show them a way, and only they discovered it over the course of time. Or I think that the Alan Scott example, especially, I guess the HBO, I really like that too. But I think that in this case, the Alan Scott does add, like you said, it stops being just a demographic grab, and it becomes truly nuanced storytelling when handled well by a good writer.
Yeah. And there are some at DC I'd love to see take a stab at it.
Mm-hmm.
So
for sure, and that's the difference between good storytelling and just let's boost these numbers this month.
Yeah.
That's the difference. Is you've got the suits that only care about the money, and then you've got the storytellers who want good story, good characters that actually say something to the reader.
Right.
Yeah, but there's few of those in the industry anymore.
That's very true, and they're all here in the industry now.
you get a lot of the pandering because the suits think it's going to bring in numbers. It doesn't bring in numbers, but they keep doing it. Yeah.
I mean, Warner Brothers. What Warner Brothers have been doing with the DC movies right now? That's a perfect example. Is let's just try whatever. Oh, we got to look like Marvel. That didn't work. Let's do something else. And they have no vision, because it's just a bunch of suits trying to get money. It's not anybody.
Marvel makes all this money with superhero stuff. Let's do the superhero stuff.
Exactly.
And instead of taking the idea, the blueprint that Marvel gave you on how to make a cinematic universe, well, we just make the movies.
Yeah.
They don't have to make sense.
And if they get a chance to do something different, if they greenlight something that is not exactly what they're used to doing, and like, we'll shotgun some ideas and see if anything sticks. here for a long time, and I don't know, I don't see it now as much, but there for a while it was like, oh, look, we have an overblown, over budget, gigantic name that wants to do a thing, and it's very much what we think that this is going to be. It's dark. Yes, let's go. Okay,
Yeah.
let's promote the heck out of it.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, we're doing this other series that looks interesting, but Brian Hitch Hawkman. I want to take Hawkman and fix his continuity. Oh,
Yes.
okay. I guess.
Yeah.
Will they promote it? No. Will they do the book? Yeah, but then they won't ever put anything out there about it. People have to discover it on their own and trumpet it. And then in the aftermath, they're like, oh, we know it's going to be a 8-issue series. Let's make it a 12 because oddly enough, it's selling. Well, then maybe you should promote it. No, it's fine. We'll just kind of let it go the way it is. And when you said in Crime Syndicate that the backup stories were Brian Hitch, I'm like, good. Because at least that part is going to, it should get
at least enjoy about 6
feedback.
pages of it. Yeah.
Yeah. And, the book is okay. But that, to me, is like, okay, I will pick up all the issues then because I want to read what he does with the other characters.
Oh, yeah.
I loved his take on Hawkman. And a way to fix all of the goofy continuity, he came up with that brilliant idea for it. So if you haven't checked it out, go back and get the issues in the TPBs of the Hawkman series with Brian Hitch. You will not regret it if you like Hawkman.
Yeah, they've just, I believe DC has just released the final volume of that, with the stories continued by Robert Venditti, who wrote some really excellent Green Lanterns a few years ago, and also did a couple of really good Supermans for the Walmart Dollar books before they closed that program out. I agree with Clyde completely. It is totally worth reading. It's a great series. I kind of liken it to the old John Ostrander Spectre, where everything happened, and Ostrander and artist Tom Mandrake worked their backsides off to make it make sense.
That's brilliant. The fact that you can do that is just astounding.
And yes, I'm looking at Percival Pop, the Super Cop, when I say that. Mike knows what I'm talking about.
What you got to do, if you're like, I don't know, Hawkman, I don't know. Okay, first of all, think Hawkman reincarnated. He is a reincarnated. He and Cher have reincarnated over time. Okay, now imagine that reincarnation is not just earthbound.
Yeah.
And then you think of a Kryptonian Hawkman. Okay, now go read
it. If that doesn't sell that book, nothing will.
Now, back to the original question, what would drive us away from a character? I'm going to tell you, for me, and I'm a huge G.I. Joe fan.
Yeah.
The tattoo. Especially Snake Eyes. Snake Eyes and Storm Shadow, the clan, the ninjas, all that stuff. I know Snake Eyes' history forward and backwards from the comic books, not the cartoon, because the cartoon just jacked that up so bad, but it was fun because it was goofy. It was for toys.
Yeah.
But so you got two guys brought together through the brotherhood of being in the army in Vietnam. They bond together. One saves the other's life. Snake Eyes comes back from the war. His entire family is killed in a car crash the day they're supposed to pick him up from the airport. His twin sister, his mother, and dad. He's got nowhere else to go. So he goes to Japan to see Storm Shadow, Tommy. And he finds out Tommy's family business is being a ninja. His family invites him in, even though he's an outsider. He's the round eye. He's the gaijin. They bring him in, train him. He becomes a better swordsman than Storm Shadow, but not a better archer. But his uncles are favoring Snake Eyes, who you never find out what his real name is ever, favoring him over their nephew, which is starting to drive, a spike between them because they're totally different people, different. One's from the west, one's from the east. So when the Hardmaster is killed, everybody thinks it's Storm Shadow. Years later, you find out it's not Storm Shadow. It was Cobra and all kinds of stuff. But it was their bond, because they were different people, became brothers in the army. from different backgrounds. I mean, that was their story. I mean, so the new movie coming out.
Yeah, I knew this is where it was coming.
Brace
boy.
yourselves.
Yeah.
And hey, I love Asians. I've got no problem. But Snake Eyes was not Asian. And you take away so much from the story
Yeah.
by just race swapping that, because he's a ninja, you gotta make him Asian. So he's gonna be Japanese as well. You take away all that. I mean, they could have done so much. I mean, sure, you can't have the Vietnam War anymore because these guys would be in their 70s.
Yeah.
Updated to the Gulf War or something. But I mean, everything, Larry Hama laid everything out for him. I mean, everything was in those books that they could have used. And I don't know if I'll see the movie because it just, the core, what made them brothers and great characters is not there now. They're just taken out because they want to do whatever.
Well, it's the same exact thing that Warner Brothers is now doing with Superman, whereas you had an amazing Black Superman character, Val Zod, President of the United States on his Earth. Great character. You could have told an amazing new original story that no one's ever heard. Like most people don't even know who he is.
Right.
You could have told that story, but no, instead we're gonna get rid of Henry Cavill and we're gonna replace him altogether and race swap Superman and Clark Kent.
Yeah.
And it's like, and this is after Warner Brothers completely booted Cyborg out from the Justice League movie. Right. And then refused to let Zack Snyder use Jon Stewart as the main Green Lantern.
Right.
And so to me, like, I'm seeing between the lines here, I'm like, Warner Brothers, you're trying to just throw they're pandering. And that's what it is. It's an overcorrection. It's like, no. We want diversity. We absolutely want diversity. We need diversity. Do it right though. Don't just go around changing all the characters just because. There are multiple well-established diverse characters. Dive your money and your storytelling into them for that kind of stuff.
Everyone's favorite black, no, I'm not going to say black, mutant is Storm. Everybody loves Storm. They don't do anything with Storm. Everybody loves Storm. Yep. And they treat her like she's never been around. They've never had a black mutant. Here comes T'Challa.
Yeah.
But
Blade. That was the thing.
Blade. They forgot about Blade. Blade
nuts,
had, 3 movies? Okay.
Yeah. Well,
one really good movie.
Two good movies.
2 and 3. Oh.
Yeah.
But, everybody loves Storm, and they don't do anything. And I keep looking over my Storm action figures over here. Because I got 3 of them. But everybody loves Storm. Nobody cares that she's black. Nobody cares she's a woman. They care she's a good character.
Yeah.
Exactly. And I think that's the bottom line. And I know there's going to be somebody out there going, well, there's a bunch of, middle to elderly aged white guys saying this, but it's I agree. It's the idea that as long as there's a good story and there's a great character behind it, that's, yes, again, I think there must be representation in all media. Yeah. But at the bottom of it, you're going to get more people to accept a character by writing a great story around a great character, which is why Storm has survived all these years through her various iterations.
Yeah. And I mean, comics. Blade is the main character of the new Marvel event. And
there we go.
So I'm super stoked because Blade's my favorite Marvel character.
Yeah.
Which kind of bums me out that the movie's going to be PG-13 in the MCU, but you can't win them all. So,
Disney.
I know. That's the thing. Is up to this point,
they'll probably make him a princess too.
Princess Blade.
And I would go see that if they put Ryan Reynolds in the main.
No.
Wesley Snipes.
Yeah, well,
I don't know, man.
Wesley Snipes was in what was it was it John Woo with Love? Julie Newmar.
To Julie, yeah.
Yes, Julie Newmar.
Queen of the Desert.
Yes, right.
There we go.
Him
He can do it. He can do it. He can play. He can be Storm. Oh, let's catch up with the comments here. Dan Hollifield said, "You bought Girl Genius comics? You bet I did. I loves me some Folio. And you guys are terrific," says Ted Davies Artistry. Best show in the Rising Tide Broadcast Network, besides his, of course. I expect that from you, and I agree. Walking away from excessively grim content, says the Historical Fencing Guild, is necessary self-care.
Yes, it is.
Yes.
I couldn't agree more. I honestly looked at that book and I'm like, I can't bring myself to support this. I really can't. And Hail Hydra, seriously. Now that was a
Right,
decent,
yeah.
it turned into a decent storyline.
It did.
But Brian, another Clone Saga ought to do it. Yeah, that would do it for me. I would
No.
I would run away from Marvel if they
Oh,
did that.
But maybe the Clone Saga has never ended.
Oh,
That's
no.
true. Now with the first Clone
They're all
Saga,
scrolls. That's it.
they're all scrolls. They're all scroll
Everybody's scroll.
clones.
Yeah.
They're all scroll clones. But no, I had a friend who was really incensed about the original Clone Saga when they thought that Peter Parker was the clone,
Yeah.
and he said, "You're telling me that the comics I've read for the last 25 years no longer count?"
Mm.
And that's a sobering thought.
Yeah.
That every time you do something like this, because there's probably a bunch of hardcore Alan Scott fans right now who are saying, "I'm going to get rid of all my Justice Society comics. This character is dead to me." That's the risk you run in doing something like this. Cindy Cap says,
people could have. I've never been an Alan Scott fan, or I've never been a big DC fan except for a few characters. But I mean, people, might have invested in him, related with him, to him for years, and then they change everything about him, and you no longer can relate to him.
Right.
But they did it for other people to relate to him. So
And
at some point, do you
those
care about the older fans, the previous fans, the current fans, or what do you want? I mean,
in that kind of situation,
you never know what's going to happen.
For me, like, I don't know. I'm torn because I do understand where the older fans are coming from in that, but at the same time, those stories didn't go away.
No,
like they're all still there, and you can always go back and revisit them, and you still have all of that. And if what is present now doesn't represent you, okay, then go to something else that represents you now. But you still have that character back then. So I see both sides. I don't know.
I do too.
It's hard.
The biggest debate thing that I have seen lately, and I was kind of torn about it because, all right, we have Sam Wilson's going to be Captain America.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
That's based on comics. I really like that idea, but I also really like Sam Wilson. He was the Falcon, and that became a very good character.
Yeah.
It's not a derivative of like Green Lantern, and John Stewart is wonderful as a Green Lantern, but it's always like, well, yeah, but they had Hal Jordan and then they made him. So he's a derivative of the Falcon's not a derivative of anybody. He is a standalone, excellent character. Mm-hmm. And as much as I like the Black Panther and Prince T'Challa, when I think of young African American readers that grew up on it, how many of them can relate to a Prince of Wakanda with a high technology and, he's got a retinue of servants and, that's not their lives so much, where Sam Wilson's is, even Luke Cage to a degree, in America, hopefully not that they couldn't identify too much with him, but I bet they knew somebody like him, and it's a redemption story for him. With Sam Wilson, it was just, this is a decent guy that becomes Captain America's partner, not a sidekick, a partner, and then takes over as Captain America. I'm good with that, but I hated to lose the Falcon too. But then I saw when they brought it out in the Winter Soldier, the Falcon and the Winter Soldier series on television, and more people got to see it. Mm-hmm. I saw how much it meant to friends of mine that are African American to see that story, and now I have seen other people that just don't like it, and they're like, it's not enough. It's not investing enough of Captain America as a black man. They didn't go far enough in like the series, the TV show, and that person is not African American, but he definitely believes that African American representation in comics. But then I saw, on the other hand, African American friends my age, maybe not the youngest, I don't know. I'm more friends that are my age, but African American folks of our age and just the previous generation who were just galvanized by the idea that they could finally see not just his struggle, but also Isaiah Bradley's struggle as the Captain America not to be acknowledged.
Yeah, that last episode, man, when when Sam gives his speech, and then it's him and Isaiah's scene, man, I cried. It was good. It was at that moment. I was looking at my buddy. As soon as I watched it, I looked over to my friend, and I just said, "That's Captain America." I was like, "It is. That is Captain America." That it just
Me too,
he fits the mantle perfectly. It was great.
Right, but I'm a middle-aged white guy, so and soon to be an elderly white guy. So I'm like, maybe it doesn't. But then I saw things from friends that are not middle-aged white guys, that are middle-aged African American men, and seeing their positive, I was like, I get where you're coming from. They could have done more with. They could have dug even deeper. But then it gets darker, more like DC. And I think they handled it well. At least the folks I know that felt represented and their stories told as a Captain America with Sam Wilson. So, I think that in this case, it was a good call on their part because it was a diverse group of fans that seemed to be satisfied and to be happy with it. Not everybody, I'm sure, but it meant something to the people that it was about. So it's good.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Cindy Cap says shock value for shock value is annoying. Your restraint is admirable.
Yes.
And Historical Fencing Guild says warping an established character needlessly to boost a gimmick. And from the desk of a small press publisher, good to see you, Joe D. McPhee. Saturday nights at 10 p.m. Check it out. He's going to be interviewing Cindy Cap this coming Saturday, so please check it out. Greetings, Spectrum. Like how they handle Larry Traynor, Negative Man, in the Doom Patrol's TV series. Yeah, and that's another one. Given his past, his was so nebulous that it kind of left room for him to be written as he was. As Brian Rodman makes his points, Eric Hawkins dreams of a skeletal Pegasus. And Cindy Cap likes that idea. Apparently, she's into skeletal horses too. And hey, Cindy and Fencing Guild from the desk of a small press publisher. Warner Brothers needs to reboot and jump to Batman Beyond since the Historical Fencing Guild.
I'd love that. That'd be great.
Yeah,
I am so there. And Anthony Mack says, whose backstory I'd love to see? The CGI effects artist who had Henry Cavill's mustache in the Superman movie. I want that mustache to have its own movie, to be honest.
Yeah, absolutely.
And from this one, small press publisher, AT&T won't go for a Batman Beyond. They've been trying. They've been trying.
Hopefully, well, I don't know how hard they've been trying, but they've got it. If they can get, honestly, it just depends on what they do with this new Flash movie because they've got Michael Keaton back.
Oh yes.
So if you just keep him and make him old Bruce Wayne and bring in Terry McGinnis. There you go. You've got, and it ties in with the original Michael Keaton Batman movies. Warner Brothers, if for weird, ungodly reason you are watching the show right now, please do that. That would be perfect.
Yes. Send your cards and letters to so-and-so at warnerbrothers.com. And from this, a small press publisher. See, I told you Crime Syndicate was good. Dude, you undersold it. Seriously, that's one of my favorite new titles in years, and we reviewed it last week from or a couple weeks ago from the bathroom, so it's good because that's where I read most of my comics anyway.
It was 4 flushes out of 5. It was
that's
great.
Right, by God. Yeah. But I didn't flush the thing down the toilet. See, that's the difference.
That's the key.
Yes, the Historical Fencing Guild, Anthony Mack, Tales of the Cyber Stash Slayer. I'm there. I'm so there. From this from a small press publisher, I think they did state his name in the last issue of the Marvel run. With the letters Snake Eyes gets and responds to as they closed the pit.
He got a letter from Wade Collins' son, one of the patrol members from Vietnam, and because his son wanted to become, like a soldier too or something like that. And he responded, I think, telling a story of almost everyone in the unit or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't think he signed it his name. I still don't think it, because I recently I even remember Larry Hama doing an interview where they said he's never revealed his name and never will.
Right. And if Larry Hama says it's gospel.
I got a slight addition to make. We were talking about things that would turn you off from buying a book of characters that you like.
Right.
The Squadron Supreme. I've always enjoyed the idea where Marvel made their own Justice League, and they put out a kind of a recap of some of their older issues. It's a beautiful painted cover. I mean, it's impressive. And the stories are things I've read before, but it was good to get refreshed about this Justice League analog for Marvel. And then they came out with Heroes Reborn, and you guys talked about it.
Mm-hmm.
Normally Marvel does not sell me on a whole getting on an event. Oh yeah, I read the first one and I'm like, I'm in. However, how could you kill this? How could you kill the excitement for this? And this was my friend Jerry Jones from Doom Rocket pointed this out, and I'm like, yes, I was thinking the same thing this week. I just hadn't really fully formed, but yes. Okay, here's their version of, let's make a cover that just has some decent artwork, but let's take half of it up with this crap.
Yeah. Yeah.
And all of them, to some degree, have, a whole wasted section, and then also the logo. So, yeah, don't do that to me. I could have easily missed out because I looked at it and went, yeah, it looks like another Marvel thing. I don't care.
Good point. Yeah, and I'm looking at that thinking, I see so many racks where you can only see like the top third of a book.
Yeah.
I know, yeah, exactly.
And the design of those is just like, are you trying to drive people away from finding it? What?
This looks like a very good idea. Let's make sure nobody buys it. Okay.
Yeah, exactly.
They've been doing that quite a bit since like the Civil War, I think. I think Civil War had the big bottom half of the book like that.
Right. But at least at least a lot of them you still saw the logo on the top. So so anyway, from this with Small Press Publishers, please don't get me to start talking about diversity. Dude, I would have you. We ought to talk about that. Maybe not on this show, but a clever title pending. We'll have you on that. Anthony Mack says they didn't use an Asian for Ghost in the Shell movie. Yeah, that was a big controversy too.
Yeah.
And a genuine question from the Historical Fencing Guild. I have seen Storm depicted as both black and Egyptian. I've
been reading all the comments up and down. Yeah. I know Xavier first met her in Cairo. She pickpocketed him, but I don't believe she was Egyptian though. Yeah, but that's where they first met. She was working for the Shadow King as a thief or something like that, or maybe she was just a thief.
Right. And Cindy Cap says she's been depicted as an African, but I always had the impression it was sub-Saharan African. When was she shown Egyptian? I think she was walking like that one time in an old video. And Clones versus Skrulls. Why can't they all get along? And I remember Storm depicted as a child as a street thief in Cairo. And yes, in Egypt and black. And it's been a while. Yeah, me too. Yeah. For the National Small Press Publisher says, I'm still waiting for an Isaiah Bradley Captain America comic run or TV movie run outside of Captain America, The Truth, Red, White, and Black. That was a powerful miniseries back in the day. That was good. And I'm with you. I'd like to see more of that. I would like to see him struggling with his faculties, and that's a human.
I would love to have seen in the dramatization in the series. I was really hoping that they would do, because they made the actor look older than he really is.
Yeah.
And then you've got the Winter Soldier, who's older than he doesn't age like normal people. He's been put on ice at different times, and they said that they fought in the 50s. I wanted to see that. I wanted to see that fight, between the two of them, because he tore his arm off. He said, I tore his arm off and handed it to him or something like that. Oh yeah, I want to see this.
Yeah.
See,
like sound effect.
The Falcon, because that was just season 1, right? That's not the series. It wasn't the series.
They may do more. I hope that they do.
They have said that they are going to do season 2, and I'm going to call it right now. At one point, and this, I'm just hoping that this happens. Isaiah Bradley goes out like a hero, fighting alongside Captain America. I want to see that. That I think would be really freaking cool to watch.
Why do you want to kill him?
No, like well, no, it's just I don't know. I like redemption. Like he's broken and bitter and old and just everything that he was.
But
he
Brian,
was
that's
very,
what happens when you get old.
Well, no.
What do you mean when you get old?
But when you
Look
get
above
old,
you over there.
hey, when you get old, you also die. So if you're gonna go, you might as well go like a champ. But
don't give me advice like that.
no, but like I really like I'm a sucker for like meaningful redemption stories that end in a character making a sacrifice, and I think you have a really cool opportunity to do that with Isaiah Bradley.
So don't die like Mace Windu, like a chump.
Right.
That's right. Make it count.
Yes.
Make it work.
Big rumor he's coming back.
Although I don't think he's dead. So there's that.
Yeah, now Cindy Kemp isn't familiar. It was a 5-issue story, I believe. I remember Kyle Baker drew it, but it was
the art was atrocious.
Yeah, well,
I mean, it looked like we all love Mad Magazine, of course we do.
Yeah,
don't do a serious story with art from like Mad Magazine. It was
he had just gotten off of Plastic Man, I believe. I believe Kyle Baker had been drawing Plastic Man for 2 years. After he did that, so we call it stylized. But anyway, it was a tale of kind of like the Tuskegee experiments, except they were using the early iteration of the super soldier serum, and they were testing it on this black man. And unfortunately, it had deleterious effects on him, shall we say. From the desk of the small press publisher, again, that story is buried because Isaiah was the first Cap and not Steve. We just had more Steve Rogers stories. Well, of course, we could not have had that story back in 1940, unfortunately, the way the country was at the time. And the Historical Fencing Guild says, I guess the way she was drawn just looked Arabic. So it is just interesting. It's cool. And it's not a complaint. It might have been a what if. And yeah, it's probably just an artist thing. I agree, Cindy Kemp. And this was 30 years ago, out of the discount bin with no background as I read it back then. That's where comics should all be. Really, for everyone. That's how we introduce new readers. And I think I remember that issue in general, says Cindy. And by then she was established as a black character in my brain, so I would have seen her in that way. That makes sense. Brian Hawkins, glad to have you here. But does Larry Hama really remember if he revealed Snake Eyes' real name or not? He can't remember meeting an artist he's met multiple times.
That is very true. He cannot remember Brian Shear, who's inked and penciled several G.I. Joe issues and Transformers stuff, and he cannot and done panels with him.
Yeah.
And he cannot remember him ever.
Yeah. The countdown is in single digits, people. Anyway, Ted Davies Artistry says, Fedoras rule, just saying. Oh, yeah. And Cindy Kemp says, hats put the diggity in bomb diggity. Oh, yeah. Boom, chicka, wow, wow. And Brian Hawkins says, I don't know if they're doing a season 2. They announced a 4th Captain America movie from the same writers. Well, maybe it might be like they do the Cap movie, which would then piggyback onto the second Winter
They originally
Soldier.
weren't going to do a second season, but I don't know if they just changed it. I think they talked about changing their mind.
Yeah, that's true.
I don't think there was supposed to be a second vision of WandaVision either. I mean, they're all supposed to be like one and done's.
Yeah, well, that one they called it they called it the end of WandaVision. It was the series finale, and then the end of Falcon and Winter Soldier. It was just titled season finale. So that's why a lot of people
I like
it.
it. Hopefully, it'll come back.
Yeah,
I think Sam and Bucky have a good chemistry. The actors definitely have a good
chemistry.
Yeah, they really do.
And
but so do Wanda and the Vision actor, Elizabeth Olsen. She really, I'm hoping that they get some. This could be the case for several Marvel TV projects, possibly, but I think that she at least should get a nod for some possible awards. I mean, she really knocked it out of the park. And then the two of them together were, it was a weird, different kind of approach to a story. But my wife and we haven't been that excited about a Marvel property in a long time. It really seemed right to us. And then to see them going through the painstaking way that they recreated the 50s and 60s and 70s TV shows as part of it, part of the storyline. And they sold it. I mean, everybody in that cast was just excellent to me.
Well, hopefully they'll see some Emmys. Probably not some Golden Globes at this point, but definitely some Emmys.
Yeah.
Anthony
Emmys.
Mack asks, do you think they'll ever make What If superhero movies? I kind of did.
Yeah, they're doing a show.
There's a
animated show.
plus
I know
show
they've been
going to be
working on a
coming out
cartoon,
later this year. There's a trailer out for it already. It's animated, but look, I think it's rotoscoped, and
it even has the zombies in it too.
Yeah,
cool.
zombie Captain America throwing his shield. But it's all the actors that I know of have come back and done their voices for the characters as well.
Yeah,
cool.
So, but I mean, you see Iron Man, you see Peggy Carter as Captain America. All kinds. Yeah, Captain Britain Max. A lot of Doctor Strange, a whole lot of Doctor Strange in it. But go watch it. Go look up What If trailer, and you'll see the trailer.
Yeah. As far as a movie release, who knows? Maybe if the individual cartoons succeed, they might. From Decimal Small Press Publisher, Brian Rodman missed the point of the end of the Truth series. Bradley was first, and the stuff he went through, Steve will never go through. It is because they perfected the super soldier serum, and all Isaiah wanted was a thank you and not pity from Steve. And I think that would be good. I too would like to see more Isaiah. And I have since Truth, Red, White, and Black. I think there's a lot of good stories there. In fact, I think all of the Captain Americas that filled in for Steve Rogers over the years, we know about a couple of them. But I definitely want to see a sequel to Truth. I really do. So
it means something too. Just as an old comic book fan, you have Isaiah Bradley, Captain America, and in the comics, I believe it's grandson.
It sounds great, yeah.
Because part of the new Avengers, the Young Avengers,
right?
And he has some of the same super soldier abilities, and he takes the name of a guy that filled in after Steve was killed, and they're looking for people. They're not super soldiers; they're just regular guys that have been acting, on the home front as patriotic heroes. One of them is the Patriot, and so
he takes the Ninja Gecko. Glad to see you here.
They take the name of Patriot for Isaiah's grandson, which is kind of a nod to the people that tried to fill in for Captain America after he had passed away, but had no super soldier form. Well, a lot like they're doing with the Falcon. Spoiler alert! He doesn't have the super soldier formula. He has the suit that helps him, but Sam is doing it on his own. Kudos to that kind of writing of like, okay, we know you're not the super soldier, but you're going to do it anyway.
He's got Red Wing with him.
He does. He does have. That's why when you were talking about the owl character, I'm thinking it's like it's like Terminal Red Wing. It's like a Red Wing on steroids. It's pretty cool.
Yeah. Well, yeah, and in the comic, they've established that I think that Sam Wilson is a minor grade mutant.
Yes.
Because you have to have some sort of explanation. This was back in the day when everyone was a mutant. So I'm glad we survived those days. I'm glad we're past that now. So anyway, this has been a great discussion, guys. Yeah. And I hope it opens up the door for some more thoughtful discussion in the future. And we thank everyone who has participated from the audience. We really do appreciate you. And from the Small Press Publisher, if you want to try to get on here and maybe you and I can do a show, we'll talk about it. Who knows? Further discussion about it. And his grandson, Patriot, who got his powers from the power broker illegally to keep up with the rest of the Young Avengers. Steve finds out and decides to train him after grandson tells him the truth. Yeah, Joe keeps up on his Marvel comics, unlike me. So
I don't know. A lot of it I'm reading like little encapsulated bits about the characters because they mutanted me out back when mutants were such a thing that everybody was a mutant, including Spider-Man. That may have been a mutant reaction to the no, stop it.
Well, DC did the exact same thing with metahumans. Batman was a metahuman, and I'm right. Stop it. No, he's not.
And his power was he's rich. We've established that from the movies. So yes, I feel the power activating in me. Wait a minute, that's my.
I feel my bank account's rising. Yes,
I can see it now.
There's nothing better than watching some Robot Chicken episodes with Batman in them, where they just emphasize he's got no powers.
Yes,
and Green Arrow.
Right.
Yeah, that's true.
Well,
That's
if you
true.
watched,
Thank you, Ted Davies. We love you, man.
if you watched Invincible episode 1, at the end of it, you'll see what happens if Superman actually fought Batman.
Yeah.
Just saying.
Yeah. Yes, let your minds wander on that one, audience. So anyway, again, thank you to everyone who has tuned in tonight and supports us on an ongoing basis. It means a lot to us. It really does. We appreciate you. And do you think Batman invests in Dogecoin? I'm betting he probably helped create it. He
owns
probably,
it.
yeah, he wrote the blockchain for it because
He's
that's
a
where
Bitcoin guy.
Yeah, he's been using the Dodge chain to store his information on the Justice League of America.
Yeah.
So, and by the way, I didn't review it tonight. We may do it next week if I can't find anything good. But the second challenge of the Super Sons came out this week, and we learned the one person that Batman, it's been no secret for the last 15 years that Batman keeps a file on all the superheroes and all the supervillains, and he has the superheroes because what if they go nuts?
Yeah.
Was that the last issue? Because that got canceled, right?
Of what? Of what?
The Super Sons.
Oh, no. This is a brand new series.
I think that got canceled as well.
Yeah.
Oh, it's only a limited series for
okay.
7 issues. It's only 7 issues. But no, now the digital version may have come to its end. But anyway, they reveal in the book, and I won't spoil it for everyone. There is one character who does not have a file on him. Yes, it is a him in the DC universe in Batman's file. Only one. But someone else does. Anyway, on that cryptic note, not cryptid, we weren't talking about that. Thanks for hosting Adventure. Great fun for all. Cindy, thank you for being here. And thank you again. Congratulations on breaking $3,000 on your campaign for Animal Eye. We're going to flash this on the screen one more time. Please, everyone, go to Kickstarter and support this if you would. This is Cindy's very first comic book, and we want to get her going on this. And it's a beautiful story, beautiful art. And don't forget to pick up the novel while you're at it. And woo, says Cindy, yeah, we're trying to help. We are trying to help. And from this, Small Press Publisher, great show as always. I still wait to be called in by the coach to play.
Put me in, coach.
But yeah, and I'm telling you, Joe, you're top of the list. Okay, we'll put it that way. All right. So anyway, there's that. And again, thank you. Show Cindy some more love. Exactly. She's only got $400 more to reach her goal, and I'd love to see her do it by this weekend. In fact, I'd love to see her do it by the time she's on From the Desk of a Small Press Publisher this coming Saturday at 10 p.m. # always promote your friends too. Anyway, so I think we need to.
Cindy has promoted so many of our projects,
Yes.
so many of the Rising Tide. She's always out there putting out links for our work and stuff. That it's just nice to be able to try to pay some of the back. So.
She's the embodiment
Cindy.
of Rising Tide.
She is.
Yeah,
she really is, and this is Rising Tide in action. You know, she has sent out this love, and it just, you have no idea how happy it makes me see it coming back to her. And Cindy, back at you, darling. Seriously, back at you. You deserve it so much. But anyway, you deserve another episode of this, and we'll give you one next week. We will be back next week with another set of reviews and some conversation. As always, we welcome your additions to it as well. So let's go around the room here and everyone tell our audience how they can keep up with us. Let's start with Mr. Brian Rodman.
Yes, once again, I am Brian Rodman. I am the author and illustrator of series like Memoirs of an Angel and soon to be The Nebulizer, coming to Kickstarter on May 28th. To catch up with all of that information and to follow me on social media, head to brianrodman.com. There it has our Kickstarter countdown, and it has every possible way you could ever follow me other than just becoming a stalker. Which, depending on who you are, I welcome that. So
that's a relief.
Again. Well, good. I already know you're in my bushes, so there we go.
Baby.
Thanks for having me. It's been fun, guys.
As always, Brian, thank you so much. And hopefully Eric has pulled his head out of the paper bag from using it like an airline thing. So.
Well, I'm Obviously, I'm Eric S. Hawkins, the creator of Design Before World of Oz, and you can find me on Twitter at ES_Hawkins. The book is issue 3 of the book's funding right now on Kickstarter. We're doing okay. We are funded. Almost reached the next stretch goal. We're less than $100 away from $5,000. So go out there, go to Kickstarter, look up Design Before World of Oz. Boom, you'll find me there.
Yeah, I just did an update on yours, Eric. I don't know if you've well, no, what am I saying? You check it every 3 minutes. Eric,
5.
you're at $4,919, $4,919. By tomorrow morning, let's get him to 5,000, because Eric, for all of his comic hurling, does a lot for this community too.
I even throw my own books.
And he occasionally throws a crumb to poor writers looking for a break. So anyway, the backup feature. Anyway, thank you, Eric, as always, brother.
Thank you.
And you're great. And speaking of great, there is Mr. Clyde Hall. How can everyone keep up on your adventures, sir?
Well, they can follow me on Facebook under Clyde Hall, or they can also find me under Radiating Positive Vibes with Clyde Hall, with author Clyde Hall on Facebook. Every day on both of those, I try to come up with at least one bit of positive news or feature to make your day start off on a good note. So if you're interested in that, you can find me that way. You can also read some of my work in Pulp Reality 1 and now Pulp Reality 2 from Stormgate Press. And it is available on Amazon. And also, I would encourage you to go to stormgatepress.com to look at all the other fine products that are for sale there, especially things in the area, in the genre of the new pulp wave.
Very cool. Very cool. Thank you so much, Clyde. Thank you to all of this wonderful panel here. Appreciate you so much. You make this show so much fun for me, and I know for our audience too. So we're going to reward you, we're going to mute every one of you, because that's how we roll. And then I will take the full screen to send us out of here. And I also want to send us some love to Ted Davies, who just passed the $2,200 mark. Congratulations on Grim 101. Keep up the good work, my friend. And there's a lot of Nevermorians with some great projects here on Kickstarter and Indiegogo. Please check them all out. And myself, I'm Brian K. Morris. I am primarily on Facebook. I am definitely on Amazon.com, where you can pick up my latest book, Snow Ambition, featuring Abraham Snow, created by Bobby Nash, who was on last night's Clever Title Pending special. It's part of the Snow Short series. I'm fourth in line here, with many more to come. And it's a quick read. And if you like crime fiction, crime adventure, this is the book for you. Please pick that up right now on Amazon. And also want to thank the Rising Tide Broadcast Network for powering this show. We bring you 7 days a week worth of entertainment and information. And let's see. And right now, Stupid Clock has been on for about 24 minutes. Please check that out as soon as you're done here. And tomorrow at 10 a.m., I'll be on with Nevermind the Furthermore, closing out the week. I'll have very special guests, Varian Grant of Indie Volt Media and Randy Zimmerman of Arrow Comics 4.0. And we're going to have a lively discussion, I'm sure. Then tomorrow night at 6 p.m., we'll be drinking with the Davies, with Chrissy and Ted Davies, mixing a brand new drink made with homemade limoncello. So please check that out. Then at 7 p.m. is Michaela Jade's Tidbits and Scribbles, where she tells you how to up your game in the publishing field, followed by the Historical Fencing Guild, where Nick Tockard will teach you how to kill each other safely and tell you all kinds of cool things about bladed weaponry. So please take a screenshot of that and follow the Rising Tide Broadcast Network. And please, everyone, please share this broadcast. Please like it on Facebook. Please thumbs up this thing on YouTube. And thank you to our 500 subscribers. I'm so thrilled. Thank you. And I hope this inspires me to bring you a lot more content about comics and pop culture and writing and publishing. And we hope to get to 1,000 sometime soon. We also will do it with the help of our patrons on Patreon. Patreon is a monthly subscription service where you can send a modest amount of money to your favorite creators, who in turn give you cool stuff like advanced looks at our works, blogs, mentions on all of our shows. But please check out what we have to offer you at www.patreon.com/Brian K. Morris. And now, as we get to where we're supposed to be on the queue here. Special thank you to Plasma Fire Graphics for sponsoring this episode. Plasma Fire Graphics, when the look of your book matters to you. Check them out. Also, they do trailers, book trailers, also graphics to help you promote your Kickstarter or your literary venture. So please check out plasmafiregraphics.com when the look of your book matters to you. Thank you, Jeffrey Hayes, for your ongoing support. And with that, folks, we're going to bid you a fond adieu. We will see you tomorrow morning on Nevermind the Furthermore, next week, next Thursday on Comic Book Spectrum. So remember, always stay smart, stay safe, wash your hands, and never apologize for being awesome. Thank you for being here on Comic Book Spectrum. Have a great day, everyone.
Thank you for watching Comic Book Spectrum, a Rising Tide Broadcast Network production. Please join us next week for another look at comics, past, present, and future. If you enjoyed this, please give the show a like and be sure to subscribe and share it with your friends. To receive our free monthly newsletter, go to www.risingtide.pub and be sure to give the Rising Tide Broadcast Network page on Facebook a like in order to receive news about upcoming shows including Clever Title Pending, Stupid O'Clock, Clever as Hail, Comics Chaos and Sass, Tidbits and Scribbles, the Historical Fencing Guild, and Nevermind the Furthermore. See you next week.